Stopped Fontella.
Okay.
Now it's going again.
And I went to a lot of them. Grassy Ridge, which is just up the road a ways, Pleasant Valley. And I would read poems or play the piano or sing. And so I usually got called for something. And I can remember going to Sparta School with Loretta Haycraft. That was Marvin's youngest sister, who just recently passed away. And she was cute when she was little. She was a lot younger than what I was. And I would teach her songs and get her to sing. So we decided she'd sing at Sparta School. So when they called on Loretta Haycraft, she was just little, you know, about first or second grade, to get up and sing. She got up and looked around and she started to sing the song, and then she just went and sat down. Well, the song was so simple. It was Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? When we couldn't get her to say it, finally after coaxing her, she got up and said it just as fast as she could and then ran and sat down. So we always had a laugh over. And my grandfather, if he was still alive, and he has been gone a long time, always called Loretta Haycraft Fuzzy. That's kind of the end of that story, but I did that for several years. You know.
Well, what about church, Fontella? I know you and the Haycrafts went to church together, I think.
Well, they lived at Randolph, and the Blooming Grove Church was just north of where Crestwick is now. Well, it's on that main road, Blacktop Road, that runs across there. There's a house there now. I know I had kind of nightmares over them tearing down that church, because 5 generations of my grandmother's family went there. And my mother went there, and she was a Sunday school teacher there. And we had no baptismal, so when they baptized, they went into the Centennial Christian Church in Bloomington and was baptized. There was a ladies' aid, Blooming Grove Ladies' Aid, and people from around down here belonged, and this whole area was, you know, even some around Bloomington, to the Blooming Grove Ladies' Aid. There was no more church there, but they had started it when there was a church. In fact, that's how I started dating Marvin, was at a potluck at the church. And so he come up to me and he said, "Would you like to take a little ride?" And I said, "Yeah." But I'll have to go ask my grandma. So I went and asked my grandma. She said, yes. Well, Lola, that married the Jones, she was there. And Kenny Sheets. Now the Sheets family, Kenny's son lives down here too, at Heyworth. So Lola and Kenny went, and we rode around, you know, and we just thought that was something, you know, and so then we started dating, and that was the starting of that. So that little church had a lot of memories.
Lots of memories.
And it was a sweet little church, really. We didn't have a minister, but one would come through every once in a while. And I remember one time, a young man came through. He was a minister, and he was going to preach for us that Sunday. And I know he didn't have hardly anything, because he had a patch on these pants, you know, and he had a suit. It was a suit. And, you know, that was just the way it was. People did. It was a little bit different than it is today. Of course, today they pay a big price to get the patches and the holes in them. But that wasn't the way it was back then. So that little church had lots of memories. There were several of my family funerals there, and on wedding days, my grandmother had a wonderful flower garden, and she just had every flower imaginable. She had a lot of beautiful white Madonna lilies. They were gorgeous, and blue delphinium, long stems, you know, and when they had a wedding, she'd donate flowers. And she really enjoyed doing that. So those weddings took place there, and she furnished the flowers.
Fontella, I know many of your relatives are buried at the same cemetery, and it's very unique. Tell me just a little bit about that, because that's involved in our history.
That cemetery lies just west of Bloomington. However, it's not really too far from here. And my family first came, the Hinshaws came to McLean County, and they settled real close to where this cemetery is. And some of the others did too. They settled around Bloomington and around Blooming Grove. And so my great-great-grandpa Hinshaw had a boy by the name of Cyrus. And they had moved here in about 1827, I think it was. And a cow or a horse, I've been kind of confused on that, but don't matter. One of them got out. I think it was a horse. And he was only 17, so he went to get it. And when he come back, he said to his folks, I found a place that would make the most wonderful burial grounds. And they wanted to know where, you know, and everything. And so it wasn't long till he come down with something like pneumonia. You know, they'd always call it consumption or something else. But he died. And so they went over to that place and buried him there, and that started that cemetery. And I have decorated his grave for years.
And how many grandparents do your sons have there, Fontella? Up in the 20s?
23 or 23, I believe it is.
Grandparents are buried right there in that cemetery.
Yes, off of different lines of families.
Amazing.
It's kind of amazing, and I decorate all the grandparents' graves.